So I recently made a video on how to switch on your pelvic floor muscles, and then inevitably I had a couple of patients come in who had overactive pelvic floor muscles. So I thought I'd make another video on how to get them to relax. So the pelvic floor, so this is a little model of the spine and pelvis. This is the pelvis down here, and the pelvic floor, if I turn it around, so this is the tailbone, the coccyx, and these are the ischial tuberosities, the sitting bones. So the pelvic floor essentially is a little hammock that sits under here, and it forms the floor of the abdominal canister. So you've got your abdomen kind of sitting in and around here, and then the pelvic floor is sort of sitting there as a sling at the bottom to stop all your contents falling out. So that's to stop urine from coming out, it's to stop all the contents of your digestive system coming out, and it's to stop all the contents of the internal pelvic organs coming out. So for men, that's, whether that's ejaculate, for women it's menstrual stuff and babies. So that's what the pelvic floor is for, is it stops everything falling out. But sometimes, and for various different reasons, can be emotional, can be physical, can be all sorts of stuff, but sometimes we can get everything just tightens up in the old pelvic floor. The sit bones sort of get pinched together like that, and the coccyx gets all pulled in, and that can cause serious problems when we want to release anything and let anything out. So what I thought I would go through today is how we switch off the pelvic floor when it's overactive. We're never going to switch it off completely, but how do we get it to relax? How do we decrease its tone? So today we're going to look at how do we decrease the tone of the pelvic floor muscles. So the tool I'm using for this is a Pilates ball, or it was until I let most of the air out of it. I've left a little bit of air in it, and you can see there's still a tiny bit. If I give it a squeeze, it doesn't go completely flat. Now, the reason I'm using this is that I'm going to sit on this, and it's going to give me some feedback up into my pelvic floor, because my butt cheeks are going to sit on the sides, and that's effectively what I'm going to sit on. So that is going to push into my pelvic floor, and it's going to push in between my ischial tuberosities, my sitting bones, which is going to give me some feedback from my brain, so that I know where I want to switch off. So put that underneath me, sit centered on that, and yes, so I can now feel that my butt cheeks are almost on the bench, but I can feel that dome shape is pushing up into my pelvic floor. So as I said, it forms the floor, the pelvic floor forms the floor of the abdominal canister. And at the top of the canister is the diaphragm, which we use to breathe. And then around the edges of the canister are your abdominal muscles. So I'm going to put my hands on my tummy. And what that means in terms of the relationships is that when you breathe, everything should slightly move up and down together. So as you inhale, you breathe in, you have to create space in your lungs for the air. So your diaphragm flattens, that pushes down in your abdominal contents, and two things happen. So your belly pushes forward slightly, and your pelvic floor drops. And then as you breathe out, you exhale, everything comes back up. So we've got this breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And that's what I want you to start to sort of check in with and get comfortable with. So what you should feel as you breathe in, you should feel your pelvic floor descending and your ischial tuberosities, your sitting bones, slightly widening. And then as you breathe out, everything should slightly come in, dome up. So just want you to get used to that feeling. So hand on your belly so that you can feel that as you breathe in. The reason I get hand on the belly is it encourages you to try and get the air right down to the bottom of the lungs, and that's where it needs to be for this. So we're breathing from the diaphragm, breathing in, feel everything flatten. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, flatten, breathe out, and lift. And so what you're trying to do is just to really try to drop your pelvic floor down onto the ball. What you'll find if your pelvic floor is excessively tight is that you're sort of lifted up here and everything's a bit squeezed, and you can't really feel the ball so much. So you really try and sort of flatten that ball as much as you can when you're breathing in. Okay, so breathe in and flatten the ball, breathe out and relax. Breathe in and flatten the ball, and breathe out and relax. And gradually over time, you'll find that you're more and more able to let your sit bones expand sideways and lengthen over the ball. So that's the other thing you can think of as you breathe in. Try and feel your sitting bones just moving out to the side, and then let them come back together. And as you breathe in, let them feel them coming out to the side and then come back together. So that's a way to use a Pilates overball to give you some feedback to teach you how to relax your pelvic floor muscles. There you go.